And welcome to the first official episode of the Pixels and Panels podcast. Thank you, everyone who is taking a listen or watching on YouTube. I'm extremely happy to introduce myself, first of all. I'm Aaron, and I'm bringing you this show. It's going to be a weekly show. For anyone that listened to the Zero episode, I did explain it a little bit there, but I'll do it again here. This show is called Pixels and Panels, and it is about comics and video games primarily. We'll be talking some news to kick things off, but we're mostly going to be talking about video games and then some comics. And I'm going to have a panel with me every week who will help me illuminate the news, and we'll be talking about what we've been digging as far as gaming and what we've been reading, or in some cases what we've been watching. And we'll see how that goes. But I want to just start off by kicking off the introductions of the panel. And first, we have Mr. Christopher J. Williams.
Hey. What's going on?
Chris is the host of a show called The First Nerd Order. Is that right, Chris?
That is correct. The FNO, First Nerd Order, we are also on the YouTube. So definitely check us out.
And there's like 200 episodes up there, right?
No, not that many. We pretend that there's way more than there is. You know.
Oh, really? I don't know. I went on your page and I saw episode 206. So
yeah,
you might be lying to me right now.
That's all Hollywood movie magic.
Okay.
You work in TV. You know, 206 just means season 2, episode 6.
Yeah. Well, you be the decider, people. Go on there and check out his show. The First Nerd. I don't know why I can't say it. The First Nerd Order. It's a good show. I've listened to a few episodes, so check that out. And then our final member of the panel is Mr. Ian Stickroth, joining us once again.
Is that Zero episode up somewhere?
It is up somewhere. Yeah, it's on. Thanks, Ian. It's on iTunes and YouTube and on my on the website pixelsandpanelspodcast.com. It's everywhere, Ian.
Wait, there's a website?
That's right. Check it out. But yeah, Ian's been on the show before. As I mentioned on the last show, I used to have a show called The Comic Stew. Ian was on there several times, and I'm very happy to have him back.
It's good to be back. I thought maybe I'd be able to skip an episode or two, but
nope. I'm getting you for the first one. Right off the start. All right. Well, our first order of business is, of course, a little segment I call What You Sippin' On. I called it What You Been Sippin' On last episode, but this episode I'm going to call it What You Sippin' On, because I guess that is the correct title, as Ian told me. So, what we sipping on, people?
Water.
Yeah, Chris has a case of the allergies, so he's doing the healthy thing tonight.
Yeah,
a little under the weather.
Always healthy. It's just I'm allergic. I'm having an allergic reaction to something. I don't know what it is.
But you told me that you told me you are indeed allergic to everything, so it could literally be anything.
It could be anything. I mean, I'm most allergic to bullshit, but like at the end of the day, it's probably something going on.
Well, wait a minute. You do realize you're on a podcast with Ian, right?
Oh, so
hey,
I'm probably sneezing a lot.
You know what? It sounded like he was having some problems before I jumped on.
All right.
That's true.
All right. Yeah, maybe it was Ian bugging you to play Fortnite all night.
Oh, he can bug me to play that any day.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that later, but let's get to Ian. Ian, what you sipping on?
I'm drinking a little almond milk at the moment. I was crushing some Honey Nut Cheerios right before the podcast, and I don't know if you can see this mug, but it's like this giant soup mug that I filled it to the top with almond milk. So now I have a lot to drink.
Great. Yeah, for those who are lucky enough to be watching on YouTube, Ian is wearing his signature robe. So very glad to have him in the robe. That is in his contract to appear always with the robe on. So there he is. And I am sipping on, let me show you guys. Let me show the camera. I'm sipping on the Whiskey del Bac. It is a Tucson vintage of mesquite whiskey, distilled in Tucson, Arizona, my hometown. It is clear and it is powerful, so I will be slowly sipping on this tonight.
It's clear. It's like moonshine then, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not bad. It is a very, like, if you're a whiskey drinker.
Is that how you're funding this?
Yeah. I wish they'd sponsor me. Maybe someday.
Well, you're coming on a little strong. I mean, scale it back about 10%. Maybe they'll get up.
Let me keep drinking, and maybe I will calm down a little bit. It's not bad. If you're a whiskey fan, it's different than, a standard whiskey vintage. It's definitely very mesquite-y, but it's not bad. It's an acquired taste, but I'm trying to get into it a little bit more. I bought this bottle like last year, so I need to get a little on it a little bit more.
Yeah, well, the read was going good until you said it took you a year to finish.
With that being said, let's jump into some news. That's our first segment of the show. I guess I'll start with my story because we're all just going to bring a story to the table and talk about it. And I'm going to kick it off. I was reading an article. There wasn't a lot of news this week, at least that I noticed, but in the video game or comics world. But I did notice a rumor, and it could very well be true just because of where Microsoft is at. But it was basically a rumor talking about Microsoft potentially buying EA of Electronic Arts fame. And this probably will lead into some Xbox talk. And I did want to talk to you guys because I know you're both big Xbox players. And I've noticed that it seems that Microsoft kind of has a first-party publishing problem with the amount of titles that they have. And it, when you compare it to Sony or even Nintendo, it seems like they really are in third place with their first-party output. So if they did buy EA, let's just say they did buy EA, like how far do you think that would go towards fixing those woes?
Well, I personally think that the idea of Microsoft buying EA would, if they tried to use it in the format of more exclusives, they're going to alienate a lot of people, which I don't think they would go that route. Maybe cherry pick a couple exclusives, maybe make BioWare stuff exclusive. That would actually give BioWare a chance to make a quality product when they only have to worry about one platform. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Microsoft's too smart for that. It's and going along with what you're saying about not having as many exclusive titles, it's an opportunity for them to cash in on the additional funds that EA would make, that revenue that they would make, so that maybe they could use that to fund more AAA titles that are in-house. At least that's my opinion. But I feel like they won't go an exclusive route because there's too many people that buy into EA products.
Right. And I mean, obviously they have all the sports titles. And can you imagine if EA only put those out on Xbox? I mean, think of the revenue that they would lose from not selling those on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why it's completely ridiculous to think that they're going to get EA specifically to get more exclusives. That has nothing to do. Yeah. I don't think. I'm first of all, let me ask, why did you get this article from a site called Nintendo Life?
Because that's where I read it.
It's a little weird.
They did a good job covering that rumor.
You're talking about a Microsoft acquisition of EA, reading about it in Nintendo Life, and I'm going to go on record and say that I think Nintendo's in third place on their first-party stuff just because, not that they make bad games, they just don't have good first-party IP and IMO.
Yeah, well, that's just, you only say that because you're a Nintendo hater, so I'm instantly just going to discount your opinion concerning that. But let me ask you a serious question. So let's say this happened because Microsoft obviously has enough money to do this. I forget the exact figure, but I think it would be somewhere around $30 billion to acquire EA. They definitely have enough money to do that. So let's say they did that. Do you think they would just sell the sports titles just cross-platform like they're doing with Minecraft?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'd sell them cross-platform because most of the money made from those titles is microtransactions. They're all loot boxes. It's all Ultimate Team. That's where the money is. And you're not going to cut off half your Ultimate Team revenue. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and possibly even
Not to
more,
mention-
'cause it could sell a lot more on PlayStation 4. There's a lot more PlayStation 4 sold.
Well, you also have to
than
take into
Xboxes.
consideration too that Microsoft has their hand in everybody's cookie jars anyway, with platforms and operating systems and things of that nature. They get all of that stuff from those other vendors anyway. So you get big people like Sony, and some of their ideas, or most of their ideas, as far as their hardware and their specs and their user interfaces, things of that nature, Microsoft helped them out on anyway. So they know the revenue of giving to basically give into your competitors to help you make more money. I mean, if they have the money to buy EA, it's because they've shared so much of their wealth with everybody else that allowed them to make that money to do so. I mean, I feel like it helps gamers in the long run anyway when you have a company that's run by a company that's more efficient. Because let's be realistic, EA doesn't know how to drive their ship right now. So if you had someone like Microsoft running the ship, we might get more quality, better games from Electronic Arts.
Yeah, see, I'm a big proponent of there not being a bunch of like super mega companies, and I don't like monopolies, and this would just sort of feed into that monopoly system a little bit more. But is there anybody that you'd rather see replaced than Andrew Wilson right now?
Who's that? Is he the guy? Is he the head of EA?
Yeah, he's the CEO of EA. I mean, as the executives at EA, I would not feel bad in the least if they just sent them all home.
I always see the guy Blake Jorgensen.
Blake Jorgensen, yeah, he's because he was, I think, he's been out there a lot talking to investors about Battlefront 2.
Oh yeah,
he's kind of been the face of Battlefront 2,
or an Anthem actually, maybe.
Maybe so.
Yeah, for sure Anthem, I think. But
he's trying to put out PR fires.
At this point, are you guys at the least bit interested in Anthem from EA?
Oh, I am.
Okay. I'd actually appreciate getting a little background on that, because to be honest, I haven't really looked into that too much. I know it's a ways off, and I just decided to not really invest a lot at this point. So what's that all about? I heard it's a Destiny-like game.
Kind of. It's BioWare, and I could see the combat looking a little more like Mass Effect Andromeda.
It is. It's way more. It's what Mass Effect was supposed to be.
But it looks a lot better. Gameplay wise and action wise. We'll see how you'd love to see like a dice shooting mechanics, on that Frostbite engine with BioWare's story. It sounds awesome, but then you throw in EA and you just go, is it even going to be worth my time at all?
Right.
Yeah.
And
you throw your hands up when you know EA is the publisher.
Right. So, Microsoft buying them and maybe changing that direction could be a good thing. I've been talking myself into, I'd almost rather this happen than not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where are you at on it? Because I don't think that I have no fear of games that I like being console exclusives, not just from the perspective that I have an Xbox, because I would feel bad for people that did not have an Xbox, and I don't think it's realistic for everybody to have both the way I do. So not selfishly, but just in general, I still don't have that fear, because I don't think they'll have that many exclusive games under EA. I think that you'll have a lot more timed exclusives where Xbox gets the DLC a month sooner, that kind of thing. But I don't think the game itself will be held back from the other systems.
Yeah, I agree actually with that. I think if Microsoft bought EA, most of the games would still be on PlayStation, and hopefully some on Switch still. I agree with you, Ian. I don't think. If they did buy them, maybe because I do kind of appreciate Microsoft as a publisher. They kind of fall in line more with my sensibilities than a company like EA does at this point. So maybe that would change EA's direction a little bit to more towards a company that I can get behind. I don't think it would be that big of a deal as far as not being able to play EA games on PlayStation. I think we've seen that with Minecraft, that Microsoft is not willing to lose that revenue.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I know what you're saying. I don't know if Minecraft is a great comparison to a lot of other games.
Well, like a Madden, I think it is.
I mean, not. I don't. I think that selling copies of Minecraft is what made them money. It wasn't like a continual revenue from microtransactions. I don't think they're probably selling a fair amount, but not on the level of a Madden or a FIFA.
Oh yeah,
true.
FIFA
Well,
I think has the most as far as microtransactions are concerned, because that game had FIFA. From my experience of being store manager at GameStop, FIFA is the number one selling game in the world. Period.
Yeah,
no game sells more copies than FIFA. It's just a game that everybody on the face of the earth plays.
I would argue that GTA is maybe the one exception.
Are you referring to GTA 5?
Just anytime a GTA comes out versus anytime a FIFA comes out.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, but you get so many.
FIFA comes out every year.
Every year, yeah. So I think, like, as far as volume is concerned, it's probably still the number one selling game. But when Grand Theft Auto does come out, yes, I agree, it sells gangbusters.
But FIFA,
pretty much anything Rockstar puts out, really will
FIFA
sell gangbusters.
Frustrates me. Like, you know, I love it, but I hate it so much. Like, I played when they came out with Ultimate Team. I played it, or I'd never played a minute of it. I immediately looked at how it worked and said, "This is pay to win. I'm not doing this."
Yeah,
I don't have the time.
I know that is a popular thing and it makes EA a lot of money, but that's not really like that big of a part of the game, is it? Like, I mean, as far as like you're wanting to buy the game, you're not buying it for Ultimate Team.
That's why everybody's buying it now.
Some people are.
A lot of people are playing head-to-head online still, but Ultimate Team, I think, is the biggest part now.
Really? Okay. Because the only thing that really interests me now about sports games is the career mode. And that's really what's always interested me about sports games. So, I mean, I believe you if you say that about Ultimate Team. I mean, I can't tell you any differently, but
I think you're not as into online multiplayer as a lot of people are. I think you're more of a like co-op and solo type player.
I definitely like single player games more than maybe your average video game player these days. But your average video game player also skews younger, and they're more into the multiplayer games. So yeah.
So yeah, I think Ultimate Team is becoming the like preferred mode on FIFA, and I have no interest in it. Which means, you know, EA's all in on those, you know, loot boxes, RNG, pay to win schemes, and the sports community's never fought back on it. So they're going to continue to do it. So I could see Microsoft coming in and saying, "Hey, let's focus more on other aspects of the game because we are more interested in PR in general." Where EA is just, you know, the sports community will accept it, so they don't care.
Yeah. See, okay, just to wrap up this topic, you know, I think something like Ultimate Team, in my view, it hasn't got the degree of crap that like let's say Battlefront 2 has got. So I don't think that I don't really think that Microsoft would change Ultimate Team a lot if they did buy EA. But at the same time, they could have some changes in other places, and maybe like with some of the new IP, not focus so much on microtransactions. But who knows? I mean, at this point, it's only a rumor. So I just thought it was an interesting story. I wanted to bring it to the table. We'll see what happens.
I would just say, you know, I would hope that if Microsoft took over, they might put more focus in the other aspects of the game, like the, you know, your season mode and your career mode and that kind of thing.
Sure.
Whereas EA's kind of gone away from that. Like I try to play with my little brother, you know, 2 people on a team, and it's just unplayable. It's not.
Oh, really?
It's not. They just never tested it to work very well with multiple players on a team. They just don't care anymore.
Oh, so the online infrastructure is bad on FIFA? Well, that surprises me.
No, well, EA servers are terrible. I always have lag on EA games, and in sports games, you can't have lag. That's why I don't play EA Sports games online anymore. You can't have lag, and you
can't really have lag on anything online, but sports games are the worst.
Sports games are the worst, and that's why I don't play Madden Online anymore. And I used to play it a ton, and I don't play FIFA Online anymore. I used to play that a ton. The lag is just too bad.
Damn. Hear that, EA? You're losing out on some revenue from Ian. Get on it. Get on that online infrastructure. All right. The next topic, Chris is actually bringing to the table, and it does tie into Xbox a little bit. So you want to share that, Chris?
Yeah, well, there's a controller that's being released in the UK, or for the most part, all of Europe. An article that I read because someone pitched it to me. They knew how much I thoroughly enjoy my Xbox in lieu of my PlayStation 4. Not that I think PlayStation is a bad console in any stretch of the imagination, but my main issue with my PlayStation is that I hate the controller. I have these big hunkin' meat hands designed for shooting weapons and pounding it into people's faces. So naturally, the PlayStation controller is too small for my big gorilla hands. So I prefer the Xbox controller for that very reason. So this manufacturer, Hori, designed this controller. It's called the Onyx. And they designed it to basically have the functionality of what a PlayStation 4 controller needs, but the physicality of an Xbox One controller, basically for people like myself who would prefer to play that. Now, I'll be honest, I get that controller, I'll play my PlayStation a little bit more. But
yeah, you don't know what it's like to try to get this guy.
What's that?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit, so I started in. But yeah, you don't know what it's like to get this guy to try to play a PlayStation 4 game, especially a shooter.
Not really.
I have played. Okay, I have played a few games. I like my PlayStation for the exclusives. I'll be perfectly honest.
Yeah. The problem is, so here's the problem. He doesn't play just the tip like everybody else. You'll appreciate this, Aaron. He just goes full knuckle. Okay, so he's got he's up to the first knuckle on his joysticks, and then his thumbs bump together on the PlayStation controller.
Thank you very much. It is full pad. I go full pad. Okay. I can't do just the tip.
Most people.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
most people go just the tip.
Yeah, I was reading that article. Obviously, yeah, if you do play on PlayStation 4, but you like the Xbox controller, it looks like a pretty good option. The guy that was kind of reviewing that on the article, he was saying that the thing he really hated was, I guess the build quality was pretty good, but there was just no headphone jack, so you have to have Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah. Have to have Bluetooth.
Yeah. But that was really his only issue. So yeah, I guess it's only in Europe though, so you'd have to order it from Europe.
Yeah, you'd have to order it from Europe. They are planning a North American release at some point. But the price is right. I think it's like $40. I'd pay $40 for a controller like that.
You said $40?
Yeah, that's cheaper than a regular PlayStation.
Okay, yeah, because the regular is still what, 50?
You sure that's not 40 pounds sterling? That could be like more.
You know what? It could be. It could be. I have no idea because I don't fancy myself in Europe anytime soon, so I don't think I'll be buying that controller with any kind of quid or pound.
If it's 40 euros, that's only like $10 these days. But
oh, sick burn. Hashtag Brexit.
Yeah. Hey, Ian. So how do you what's your favorite controller? Let's just talk about this for a second.
I feel a lot more precise with the PlayStation controller. So I would like this article a lot more if it was the other way around.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I was like, I actually love the PlayStation controller.
I do like Xbox controllers sometimes. I did like my Elite controller, but the grips fell off. And
oh, really?
That's super annoying for a $150 controller. So it still works, but I really don't use it as much because it's missing one of the grips, and it was that was a huge disappointment. And I looked into it, and I guess not only does that happen to everybody, but also the bumpers break. There's a piece that hooks the bumpers together that's cheap plastic that breaks on almost all of them. So everybody said that the bumper breaks and the grips come off.
Wow.
So other than that, it's a cool controller. It feels great if it holds up.
I was going to ask, so that's the Xbox Elite controller. I heard a while ago that PlayStation was possibly doing an Elite controller. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Yeah, it's called a Scuff.
But that's not an officially licensed PlayStation controller, is it?
No, it's a modified one.
Yeah. So I'm talking about like an officially licensed PlayStation Elite controller.
I think
That's
it was
news to me.
Yeah, I think it was you, Aaron, that told me about it. I haven't really heard.
Okay. All right. Well, that's enough. That's enough controller talk. My favorite controller is my Switch's Pro controller. That is actually a little bit more like the Xbox controller, but for some reason, I just like how it feels in my hands. I like that the face buttons are really nice and big, and I love the D-pad. I love the Nintendo D-pad. So that's my favorite controller. But the PlayStation 4 controller is actually my second favorite.
It would be such a fanboy.
I do appreciate the PlayStation 4 controller, but I understand what Chris is saying.
It's too tiny, man. It's too tiny.
All right,
these big meat hands can't handle that.
You just got to be efficient with your space, you know?
Hey, I get it, man. I get it. Hey, well, let's stay on the topic of Xbox, because why not? And just stay our whole news topic on Xbox. But Ian, you wanted to talk about Xbox Game Pass a little bit.
So I need to look up what. So you know what? I'm going to have Chris talk about the Game Pass first, because the news was that they're launching all of their first party exclusives for free on day one with the Game Pass. So if you have the Game Pass, you have those games.
That is correct.
Can we go into the details of Game Pass? Because I'm a little in the dark about this. Like, how much is that going to cost? What does that entail? Do you guys know the details?
I actually have Game Pass. It's $10 a month.
Okay.
And basically you have access to a large library of games that they will rotate a few in and out occasionally. But it's basically, you can download any game and you can play it as long as you have the pass active.
Okay. So it's basically the Netflix of video games.
It is the Netflix of video games. The thing that I enjoy about it, which I remember having the same program for my PlayStation, is that you don't have to stream the game. You download it directly to your console, so you have it forever. The other perk is that if you try it and you like it, you can buy it for a discount.
Okay. Is it
bought at a discount?
Yeah, does it have a discount?
What's that again?
Does it have a discount if you buy it through Game Pass?
Yes.
Oh, what's the discount?
Yes, it does.
Does it vary? Does the discount vary?
15% on all games.
Oh, okay. That's not terrible, I guess.
Yeah, and then each games are different price. Obviously, like
yeah,
you're gonna pay more for like a newer game than you would for like Mad Max. I think Mad Max is like $10.
Oh man!
But then like Recore is like 20.
Gotcha.
Now
God,
you know what?
I loved Mad Max.
So you said that when you download the game, you have it forever. Is that even if you don't have the pass anymore, you get to keep that game?
You get to keep it, but you can't play it. It won't let you have access to it.
Yeah, it just sits on your hard drive, but you can't play it. It's like Xbox Live, where if you suspend your live subscription, you can't play your live games anymore. Right?
Yeah, certain games won't let you have access to it if it's online requirement. So yeah, if you don't have your Xbox Live account.
Oh, okay. So like, let's say you're playing an offline single player game, you could stop your Game Pass and still play that game.
Not for Game Pass, but for live,
yes.
For general Xbox Live games, yes. But if you've got,
but you can play the game, but you can't play it online with other people.
That is correct.
Wow.
That is correct.
I did not. I thought that was the other way around, but okay.
Nope.
I'll trust you guys. You guys are bigger Xbox players than me.
Yeah,
well, it's Game Pass. You got to get on it.
Yeah, with the Game Pass, you'll have the ability to play whatever you want that's inside of that program, as long as your Game Pass is active. They offered it to me because I'm in their program so that I can get exclusives and stuff like that, and they offered it to me for the first month for free. So I tried it out and I played a lot of games. I was like, wow, this is a lot better than EA Access, because EA Access only had like 12 games, and this Game Pass has like maybe 50 or more.
Oh, wow.
Some of them are even Xbox 360 games as well, and they keep adding new games to the program religiously. Every couple of weeks.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Does it have all of Microsoft's exclusive titles included on the onset?
Most of them, not all of them. Like Recore was on there, which is their big launch from 2016, I believe.
Was it a big
Uh,
launch?
Hey,
Well, it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be. But the thing
It
that I
launched
enjoyed,
at $30. I actually bought it, and I had fun playing it. The little that I did.
it's an interesting game. I mean, it's rare, so with rare, you know what you're going to kind of get. But Rare is like Microsoft's biggest, publisher or developer that they have when it comes to their
Really?
first
You
party
think
stuff.
so?
I think so.
I don't think they're Halo developers. I forget what their name is, but you don't think they're Halo
343?
guys? 343. Yeah, you don't think their Halo guys are bigger?
Well, I mean, the thing is that when Halo oversaturated the market a little bit for itself. So at the first launch of Titanfall, that was what everybody was excited about. That was because the first one was an Xbox exclusive, but but I feel like 343, especially after Bungie has gone multi-platform now, 343 doesn't have the same hype as Bungie does. So
Well,
it's kind of one of those. Well, yeah, they do now, but at the time they were not. Definitely, people were like, oh, well, I go where Bungie goes, and like Bungie went to PlayStation 4. People were happily able to jump that way. But the cool thing about what Game Pass is going to have is now all of the exclusives will go straight to Game Pass right away. Something that EA Access was quote unquote trying to do before, but they never did. So that'll be interesting because Sea of Thieves comes out next month, and I'm totally interested in that game, and I'll have it for free at launch. So it doesn't make me, that's basically I'm paying $10 to play that game.
Yeah. Now, I just wanted to mention in my summation of Game Pass, Ian did tell me about what the fact that they would be releasing their exclusives day one, and I was like, I wonder if that's worth it for me, because for me, I really only have 2 games that are Xbox exclusives that I want to play this year, and they are Sea of Thieves, as you mentioned, and State of Decay 2. So I guess it works out to, I'm paying $120 a year for Game Pass, or I could just buy 2 $60 games and, pay $120. So I'm kind of juggling what I want to do right now. But, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense for a game like Sea of Thieves, because I don't know. I guess, like, I don't know how long I would be playing that game anyways. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be going back to that in, a few years. So maybe Game Pass would be better for something like that.
I mean, I would say so. I mean, it's giving you an opportunity to quote unquote rent the game for X amount of time. Let's say you do it for just the first initial month. You have access to Sea of Thieves. You maybe find out that you don't like it, or you do, but you only paid $10 for it as opposed to 60.
Yeah. No, that's smart, and I'm kind of interested to think of it in those terms. So,
well, here's why I never tried it. I assumed that the game lineup would be shitty. I just assumed that most of the games would be games I didn't want to play, and as I looked through the lineup, like, there's not a lot that's jumping out at me. Here's XCOM, the old XCOM, but I can buy that cheap if I wanted to play through that, because I liked XCOM 2. Super Mega Baseball, it's a $5 game. It's fun, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of other games that really look all that interesting to me.
Halo 5 on there?
Halo 5's on there, yes. But I already
all of the Halo games are on there.
Yeah, all the Halo games are on there. But I have Halo 5.
How about Gears?
All the Gears of War games all of the Gears games are on there.
Yeah, Gears are all on there. But I never really was. I never got into Gears a ton.
Yeah.
Both versions of Gears 1, the Ultimate and the Standard, are on there.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, other than there, you got some old Fable games. Farming Simulator 15. Okay. I already have. That too.
Everybody should have an opportunity to farm some corn. I mean, that's just
It's a lot of fun. I couldn't figure out what to do with the sheep though. So, no, like I couldn't figure out how to shear them. So that was disappointing. I really wanted to shear some sheep, but I haven't really dove into that game the way I wanted to.
Obviously,
Blood Bowl 2, I'd be interested in trying. I'm not seeing a lot that I really that's making me want to pay for it. So I don't know that I'm sold yet, But if they get a better lineup of exclusives, then that might make the difference.
Okay, so we are talking in terms of news right now, and Game Pass was in the news this week because I did notice. I think GameStop's CEO was talking about Game Pass and talking about how it really is going to cut into their business, obviously. And he was talking about how they probably won't consider stocking Xbox games after with Game Pass kind of taking. If Game Pass takes more of a presence in the market, then he was basically saying that he's willing to pull Xbox games off the shelves just because they probably won't sell as well. So what do you guys think about that?
I think if this market takes hold in this sort of like service setup like Netflix, then GameStop can just close their doors. They can pull everything off the shelves. It won't matter, because if this catches on and Sony and Nintendo decide to do their version of it, like GameStop's done.
Oh yeah, well I think GameStop's done regardless in the maybe not near future, but eventually yes. Threatening Xbox like that, kind of a desperate move. But I don't know what GameStop's market share is these days, but it seems like that's where these companies want to go. Is they want to do this service rather than selling the copies of the games.
Well, you think about it from the perspective of doing games from a digital avenue is so much more cost effective than producing discs.
Oh yeah,
right. But here's the thing: the only way that they can get away with it. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say I can only elaborate so much because I think I'm still under contract for non-disclosure with GameStop.
All right, watch yourself, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take over shitting on GameStop.
Thank you.
So
thank you very much.
The only way that the thing is selling games digitally is nice, and the biggest thing is because we're all just simply too lazy now to switch discs.
But yeah, I'm literally I'm in that boat completely 100%.
I'll watch a movie on TV with commercials before I'll go get the DV out of my closet and put it in my DVD player. Like it's that bad. It's that much of a chore to put discs in a little player at this point in our lives.
Hashtag Wally.
Yeah. So the thing is that if all these games go to Netflix, you're not going to see FIFA sell all the copies that they sell. You'll still get the microtransactions, but a game like GTA, they're not going to be able to sell all their copies if all these games, if all the games are just sort of on this subscription-based pass, then how do you decide how much to pay each of the microtransactions are just going to take over, because that's going to be the only way to monetize a lot of these big games.
Well, I can't really see every game going to a Game Pass style subscription service for every console. I can't see that happening right away. Maybe when
play titles, yeah.
But if you see Microsoft buy EA and Sony buy Activision, or I don't know, where these big companies are owned by the
platform holder,
by the platforms where they want that subscription, then you could see it.
Well, possibly, but that's that's taking a lot of things into consideration, or that's taking a lot of things into we're
explain what if. But I'm saying that's kind of that's why I think we have to be prepared to see this kind of thing and to see it go that direction.
Well, possibly, but I still think that newer games, it's going to be like a movie that movies have a theatrical run, and new movies come on the theaters, and then eventually they come out on Netflix, maybe, and I think we'll see the same type of model with a Game Pass. So I don't think
we're living right now. So.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see anything really change, because honestly, at the end of the day, the platform holders, they want to capitalize on people being excited about a new game and going out and buying it and getting that revenue. So
that flies in the face of what Xbox is doing.
Well, that's one platform holder. I can't see Sony doing that.
I think three?
I think honestly, I think Xbox is doing this because they are in far in second place to Sony right now. So I think that's why they pulled a move like this.
I mean, Sony had their streaming game service though. I mean, I don't know if it's still up. I mean,
no, they have PlayStation Now, but that's mostly PlayStation 3 games.
Yeah,
and the reason the main reason they put that out was because you can't play PlayStation 3 games on PlayStation 4 with backwards compatibility. So that's the main reason they have that.
Yeah, I like my backwards compatibility in the Xbox because there are some games that I go back and dabble in. I like retro gaming. Retro gaming is fun.
Yeah. If we're done with this topic, Ian, did you want to say anything else?
Nah, let's get into retro gaming.
Yeah, I just want to transition actually into some of the stuff we've been playing this week. I know Chris had a retro goodie that he was going to talk about, so why don't you go into that, Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of going off of what you were saying earlier about being excited for 2 games this year coming out on Xbox, one of them being State of Decay 2. I decided that I was going to commit my life to playing State of Decay 1.
Oh.
To just kind of get myself back into that zombie mindset.
Yes.
I played it religiously for the past 7 days, almost to the point where it was slightly an obsession. And even my children got involved and were like, well, don't let that survivor die. I'm like, trust me, I got this. Hold my beer. So it's oh my God, the game graphics are terrible. The control are awful, but it's still such a good game as far as like gripping you, the story, and being attached to your survivors. Mm-hmm. For example, Marcus, who is the only brother in the game, which I'm going to point that out. State of Decay, one black dude. What the hell? So but he is the first character you play. So respect on that notion. And I rage quit 75% through that game because he died. I straight up rage quit because once they die, they're gone. You cannot bring them back. So I rage quit and I started over. I was like, I'm not losing the only dude I like in this game. Like that's just so. The other chick, Maya, she died. I was like, all right, that's cool. We cool.
Okay. A couple things, Chris. First of all, I almost bought State of Decay this week. We have a little synchronicity going on because I was thinking about State of Decay 2 and how much I want to play that game. And I had State of Decay on Steam in the past, and I played it a little bit there, like just a little bit. But I was like, oh yeah, Xbox One has the Apocalypse Edition, I believe.
Year one survival. Year one survival.
Okay. So I was like, man, maybe I should go back and play that before 2 comes out. And I almost bought it, but then I made the mistake of going on YouTube and watching like a video for State of Decay. And honestly, like I saw the graphics and like how the controls were kind of janky. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this. So I stayed away. But having said that, I'm very excited for State of Decay 2, which will probably clean up a lot of that stuff. But getting back to 1, okay, I do want to know, because I only played a little bit of the game years ago, whenever it came out on a computer. What is actually the objective of like beating the game?
Surviving. The whole objective is to survive. You'll complete these missions, but it's basically a prologue for what I imagine to be like a trilogy of games. Okay. The missions are pretty. There's a lot of rinse and repeat missions, but there is stuff that is more kind of campaigny that will lead towards what I imagine the sequel to be.
Okay, so you can actually like play a campaign that you eventually finish, and so the game is over, credits roll, right?
Yes, that is correct. There is a point where I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you do play through a story arc where the point is to try to get out of the county that you're in.
Okay. And you eventually can do that and with your survivors and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only the people that you keep alive will make it.
Oh,
if they die, they're gone. So
yeah.
And yeah. I mean, I played it because it was on Game Pass. So, kind of tying that back in.
All right.
Just bringing it back around.
And so obviously you have a huge incentive to keep your survivors alive. Like, how easy is it to lose survivors?
Oh man, if you make the wrong mistake, it's real easy to lose them. sending them out on a mission when they're too tired to fight, or if they've gotten wounded to a point where they're not as effective in combat.
Mhm.
Dealing with freaks, as they're called in the game, which are the more enhanced zombies.
Yeah.
Is just there are a lot of opportunities to lose somebody if you don't strategize your scavenging or your missions very well.
And
so are we talking easy to lose like XCOM, or is it more difficult than that?
It's basically just like XCOM. But
Okay.
in the sense where if you build them up, if you send, you build them up just like you do in XCOM, you build them
Then
up.
they're badasses, but
They're badasses, yeah.
but
you can still lose
one bad fight and one guy gets ganged up on, and it's night.
It's night, exactly.
Then you're in the bar drinking to the memory of Sarah Pickles Hall.
Right, exactly. Or you might rage quit because you're so mad that you built this character up for the past 72 hours and they died over a stupid situation.
yeah,
no, it's rough, but I like that. I like that stress. I like that gut punch.
Yeah,
Ian,
it is.
Ian, you haven't played this game, right?
I have not played State of Decay. No, I mean, it's real hard to get me into a zombie game.
Well, except for Dying Light, of course.
Well, that's what I mean. It's hard to get me into it. Dying Light's one of the few exceptions because parkour. Yay!
Yeah, dude, Dying Light was so freaking good. I still play that game.
So Dying Light was an exception.
I like that.
That looked cool.
Well, wait, hold on. Can I ask Chris one more thing about the game?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Chris about like Fortress and building up like forts and stuff. Like that's in the game, right? Building like strongholds.
That system to me isn't as flushed out as what they're going to do in the sequel, though.
Okay, that's something that really gets me going. Like I want to make a Fortress.
Yeah, it's really more or less like you're just kind of building different things you need to survive. It's not as flushed out as they're saying it will be in the sequel because, based off of where you pick a location will dictate how many slots you have to fill things, and you can build something as simple as a kitchen to something more important like a machine, like a machine warehouse type deal, where you can make your own rounds and ammunition and stuff like that. But it's not like you're building crazy forts and barricades and stuff like that. I mean, you can kind of do a little bit of that stuff, but it's not as fleshed out. Now, they did say that is something that they will improve on in the sequel, where you're not going to be limited by, you can find areas of the map that will be places where you'll be able to expand large enough. But, the more you expand, the more you are exposed to the undead, as they are.
Right.
labeled.
Now, and just looking at State of Decay 1 as a product, it just seems like it's so much of a beta for what it could be. And so that's why I'm just really excited about State of Decay 2. I just feel like if they do it right, there's so many areas that they can just make better, and quality of life improvements. Just, I mean, the graphics and controls being two of them. But, man, the possibilities I think about, in part 2 could be so awesome.
And mind you, this game came out in 2013, so
right.
it was an Xbox 360 exclusive that they did for Xbox Live.
And
it
this thing is 5 years old. Spoil that shit. Tell me how it ends.
And it's a downloadable. It was a downloadable title too.
Yeah, it was a downloadable
$20 downloadable title.
I don't even think it was $20. I think it was $15.
So did I hear you say, Aaron, that you are interested in building forts?
Yes.
You got to get on Fortnite.
Just happens that there's another game where you can do plenty of that.
Let's transition to that, because I actually downloaded that right before the cast started and played my first game of Fortnite.
Well, you better have, because I literally would not have done a podcast with you about video games if you did not own Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, it is free, so it's easy to own.
It is probably one of the best games I've ever downloaded.
Say that again. One of the best free games.
Yeah, easily. I find so much enjoyment in that game.
Yeah,
it's definitely
so much fun. And I mean, there's no, I think that they correctly understand that players that just download it for free and never give them any money for microtransactions are content for people to do. So there's no, massive push to make you to leave you behind if you're not doing that. You just go in, you play the game.
Yeah. And they do the microtransactions the right way, because they just sell cosmetic items, right?
They just, well, yeah. I mean, that's not necessarily the right way to me. Because cosmetic items, I know that you don't think so, but I tend to think that cosmetic items a lot of times are as much a part of the game as a lot of other things, like the gameplay.
Yeah.
In certain games, that's huge. So, but yes, they are.
They're not selling you something they're not selling you something that's making it pay to win. Is what I'm saying.
Correct. Yeah. No. So there's no pay to win. There's no loot boxes, as far as I know. You're basically just paying for what you want.
Well, I would say that is microtransactions done the right way, because you just buy what you want.
And the one other thing that they do is they have like a pass every season, which is like I think probably 3 or 4 times a year. That's $10, or it might start out more than that, but it was on sale for $10 when I got it. And as you play through the game and progress, completing the challenges and gaining experience, you get your money back in their virtual currency, and you get a bunch of other cosmetic items along with that. So that's kind of also not a bad way to do it.
No. So you buy a $10 pass, and then you're able to earn virtual currency in the game to buy more stuff?
Yeah, and as you're leveling up, you earn a bunch of other cosmetics as well that are not purchasable. They're earnable.
Oh, okay. So they're just available from the pass. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I generally like if we're just, their microtransaction system is fine, given that it's a free game. It's a better system than most AAA games at this point.
Yeah, it's not obnoxious about its microtransactions, which I actually like. And they did a good job as far as getting you to buy into the game, because the single-player campaign, which technically is $40, will at some point be released for free at some point this year. So if you're patient enough, you can get the full game, the entire game, for free.
Now, Chris, I was gonna, and Ian too. I'm curious about this game now, because I did see there was a single player or a co-op, like co-op PVE type mode. And what does that entail exactly? Like, what type of gameplay is that?
I don't own it, but I think it's sort of like a horde mode that you. It is. And like it's like a horde mode type campaign with just zombies come at you, and you have to build a big fort and fend them off.
That sounds good to me.
Pretty much, yeah. You'll go through rounds throughout the course of the game. You'll have to build your forts to defend once the storm begins to brew, which is their version of the zombies coming to life. The storm creates them and then brings them to life. And you're going to have to set your fort up. You have a limited amount of time to build it, put your defenses up, and then they come and they attack. And if you survive the night, if you survive the quote-unquote Fortnite, then you got to do it all over again with even stronger zombies the next time. And then as you level your characters up, you can do more stuff.
Yeah, so it's kind of like if like Rainbow Six Siege and Borderlands ran a train on PUBG. The baby that they would have would be Fortnite.
Okay.
And didn't call her in the morning.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing. It's not. It's like a zombie game, but it's like it's all light and fun. It's not dark and gritty.
Yeah. Well, the graphics are very stylized, and it doesn't seem like it's taking up a ton of resources system wise. So, but as we did establish, I do like to build forts. So that the co-op mode actually sounds appealing to me. So I'll definitely be looking for that when it drops for free. Hopefully later this year.
Yeah, because right now it's in beta. So you can pay to join the early access beta, and you get to play the story mode, and you still get to play Battle Royale, which is the free version that's currently available.
That's the one monetization system in this game that I don't understand in the least. I don't get why you have to pay for the alpha or the beta now, and then it's going to be free when it comes out. I don't know if they're going to give something to people that had Save the World.
That is my understanding. Yeah,
it has to be.
They will. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
They get a bunch of like a whole bunch of cosmetic stuff and things of that nature for buying into the game early, whereas everybody else who gets it for free later on won't. It's kind of like how when you buy the battle pass and you can get the armor and stuff like that you wouldn't get if you don't buy it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't always like but I guess I don't mind it in this case. I just, as long as the people that bought it early get their money's worth, I guess, and then it's free for everybody else, I don't see how anyone can complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know Ian has a few games he's been playing, Fortnite being one of them. I'll just cover mine really quick because I actually haven't been playing a bunch this week, but just staying on Xbox, I did actually, because I realized, so I bought the Fable trilogy like a while ago on Xbox 360 because I was really excited when I bought my Xbox One. Then when they announced the backwards compatibility with 360 games, and I've never played through all of the Fable games, so I just went on the store, bought the trilogy. I'm like, these will definitely come to Xbox One, so I want to have these. I want to have these ready when Xbox releases them on backwards compatibility. So they released 2 and 3 on backwards compatibility for like a good couple of years. And I'm like, well, they put out that Fable Anniversary Edition, and since I never like had beaten Fable 1, I really wanted to start with that one. So I've basically been waiting for years now to play Fable 1 on Xbox One. I just randomly turned my Xbox on this week, went to my library, and realized that Fable 1 had stealth released apparently on backwards compatibility. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I immediately downloaded it and just jumped in and started playing it. And you know what? Fable Anniversary does not look like I remember it on OG Xbox. It's definitely a little chunkier than I remember it, but it's still pretty playable, and I haven't got too far into it, but it's a game that I'm going to stay with and continue. I did want to ask you guys, have you played Fable 1 to completion?
I've played all 3 to completion, and I love them immensely.
I did too, and I don't know why I kept going back necessarily, because there were a lot of moments that through all of those games that I was really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that I can say that I enjoyed the end of any of them. They all felt like games that were like 3/4 done, and then they just ran out of time.
Yeah. Well, it happens in game development. I mean, it does happen. They have to get a game out, and
yeah,
it could happen with Lionhead.
But I think it seemed like it happened 3 times in a row, where they had this game that had some pretty good progression, and you were just getting into it, and then boom, it was over.
How long is Fable 1?
It's not that long. It's only like probably. I mean, you could probably get through it in like 5 hours or.
5 hours! Wow.
That's I think if you rush, but it's not that long. And another thing that just I don't know if this is just me that bugged me about Fable 1, but like you sort of like start out your career and kind of go on some tutorial and new mission, or like missions as a new adventurer where you're kind of green, and then you get to like the first town that's sort of outside of your starting area, and you're like 53 years old. And there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, like the aging in that game just happened way too fast. I'm exaggerating a little, but like
yeah.
But like you're an old man before you're halfway through the game, it felt like.
Wait, are you really an old man, or are you just older?
No, like you get to like the point where you're like 63 and you got gray hair.
Oh,
like
geez.
It's like I spent all this time like creating the character.
Yeah.
Only for him to have undyeable gray hair halfway through. I mean, did you feel that way as well? Like, did he age super fast?
I don't really recall experiencing accelerated aging like clone troopers in Star Wars. I mean,
Aaron, you'll like it because Aaron likes an old guy hero. He likes a real old man.
Just straight up Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
no. I'm talking like Clint Eastwood. I like that old man strength.
Yeah, you like that hard ass old man.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
So you might get into it, but it was just like when I'm customizing a character, like I don't like him to uncontrollably age, and most of the game I'm like over the hill, you know.
Three words, man. Sir Barristan Selmy. That'll tell you everything you need to know about why I like the old man strength.
Yeah, I think Fable 2 really hit a stride, but the ending of the story I didn't feel like was super satisfying.
Yeah.
But that game is a much better game. And,
Well,
I don't think it's close. And then like 3 has a lot of cool areas and the setting is super cool. But there's a point where like everything you've done kind of just gets taken away.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard that 3 is the worst one. But I wanted to say one thing about what you said earlier about them kind of being rushed. If you do go back and remember when the OG Xbox was coming out with Fable, it was so hyped, and Peter Molyneux was going on and on about how this was going to change video games and it was the greatest thing ever and blah blah blah. So the expectations were sky high for this game, and I think the end result was a very good game, but the fact that the expectations were so sky high really kind of like soured a lot of people on the game.
Well, he promised something that they didn't deliver, which was a progression system in the game that just like based off of your choices, the game would completely alter itself throughout the course of your adventure. And it does, but it's still on rails to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. That really doesn't allow you, like, you know,
they did make it sound like way more open world than it was.
Yeah, it was still a little bit more on rails. They corrected that with Fable 2, and I think Fable 2 got it right. I actually really enjoyed Fable 3.
It's just the first one. Like I felt, there was definitely some progression in your hair turning gray.
Okay, yeah. So again, you didn't like that you got old in that game.
But you would get to these cool areas towards the end, and then you'd open them up and be like, "Oh, this is cool. I really, and then bam, game's over, and you just never got to spend any time there, and never really got to, that's where they kind of made it seem like, oh, this is going to be this awesome world. It's like, well, you only gave us like the last half of it for a very short amount of time,
right? Now, let me ask you guys this, because they recently announced that there's going to be a new Fable game. Now, real quick, one question I did have. Now, there's no progression that carries over between games, right?
No.
Well, that was the thing. The point of that was supposed to be that your actions of that game would carry over into the actions of the next game, and they didn't really get that right until Fable 2 into Fable 3.
So that goes from Fable 2 to 3?
Yeah, well, because you're the hero of Bowerstone in Fable 2, and when you play Fable 3, your kids are the ones that you're playing as. Well, you play as your younger son, the younger son.
Okay.
So that's something that carries over. So then if your save they would talk about, oh, well, he did this or he did that. And, so that was the part where, they kind of promised in the first game that they didn't really deliver, which, you would say, oh, well, they couldn't do that until the sequel. But there was stuff that he was saying in game was going to be recognized. And despite it, because, the narrative was, this is the narrative, it didn't really matter. Like some of the choices you made just didn't matter.
Gotcha.
Like it just wasn't quote unquote canon.
Right, there wasn't quite enough content for you not to have done everything.
Yeah.
So it was. I don't see how it would have been different unless you just only played half the game but still beat it.
Well, let me ask you this. So the new game is coming at some point, probably 2019 at the earliest, I would think, maybe even later. But let's say they make a new trilogy of games. Like, do you think that's the way to go with you starting a character and your progress carrying over, a la Mass Effect?
Well, I mean, to me, that's what made Mass Effect probably the most enjoyable RPG that I've played in a really long time, was because my actions from one game carried over to the next. And, even my mistakes carried over. Like if a character died on a mission, well, they're out of the story for the rest of the trilogy because I done goofed in the first game.
Yeah. So, I could not keep that Krogan alive in the first game. I just didn't see how to do it. I even went back and tried to do it a few different ways, and I just could never no matter what, he always freaked out. And we had to put him down.
So I just barely started Mass Effect 1 on PlayStation 3 because I have the trilogy on there. I kind of wanted to play through those games.
You're welcome.
I don't know. I started the game and I put it down for some reason. I haven't gone back to it, but I'm really glad I have it on one system so the saves can just carry over. So I will fire up the PlayStation 3 to get through those games. But I was going to ask about those specifically. So is it kind of autosave? So like if something happens like and you lose a character, like it's just done? Or can you like reload a save?
You can reload a save, but you know, what's the fun in that?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I mean there's some extraneous circumstances. I don't even know if that's a word, but they maybe you need to go back and load a save, but it does autosave, but you can make saves along the way and go reload them.
Yeah, but then you might run into situations where different choices that you can make 4 or 5 or 7 choices before the implications of those choices all come into fruition. And then that character dies and you're like, holy shit, well, I'll just go back to my previous save. And it won't matter because decisions that you made at the beginning of the game will impact how it is. There are decisions that you will make in Mass Effect 1 that won't actually matter until Mass Effect 3.
Okay, don't go full Peter Molyneux here. Okay, don't build it up too much.
Well, no, he's played the games. I mean,
it's true.
I've played the games too, and it's funny because Chris and I have done the exact same thing. So, I played through Mass Effect 1 and beat it. I played the DLC, and then I played through Mass Effect 2, and I I did beat that, but I don't. I hardly remember the end, and then I played Mass Effect 3, and I got about halfway through and stopped.
You both did that?
I think we both did that, right? You.
Yeah. No, I beat Mass Effect, and then I played 3, and I got to the point where I would say I was in the 3rd act, and everybody kept telling me that the ending was god awful. So I was like, no, I don't want to ruin this for myself. So I stopped playing it, and then BioWare was like, well, we made a new ending, so you guys can play it again. And by that point, I had moved on to my Xbox One, so I didn't play it.
Oh, gotcha. But you have all those
now
on 360?
I do have all 3 of them on 360.
Are those available on Xbox One?
They are backwards compatible now, so yes, you can play them. So I actually installed 3 on my Xbox One so that I could go back and play it before Andromeda came out.
Oh, did you play Andromeda?
I did, and I didn't finish it because it just feels different, and I don't know what it is yet. I don't know what it is
either. I think it might be the fact that it just kind of died. You're just like, do I even want to invest the time to finish this because I know that's not going anywhere?
They abandoned it. They totally abandoned it. All the
totally
DLC,
abandoned
everything.
It. And I don't. There's something about it that's just not quite as compelling. I mean, it had potential.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it executed. But I would love to see that combat system added to, or I would love to play with that combat system in the first 3 games because I really did like the combat in.
Yeah, no, the combat in Andromeda is great.
It's super fun, but something about it was off. I don't know what it was. Maybe it just we weren't in a time in our life where we needed a Mass Effect game. I don't know.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I was still playing Destiny too much. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Ian. I see you have like a laundry list of games. You want to maybe just pick one?
I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll get an alcoholic beverage. You start talking about your. Did you want to go into?
Yeah, you go ahead and get an alcoholic beverage. We will be waiting on pins and needles to hear what that is. I'll just really quick just mention that. Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
All right,
go ahead. I'll just really quick just mention. Well, first of all, Chris, have you played the? I'm going to call it a masterpiece. I love this game. AC Origins.
I have not played it yet.
Assassin's Creed.
When I play an Assassin's Creed game, here's something that most people know about me. You don't. I live for Assassin's Creed.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say you can tell the rest of the internet too because they're listening.
They know. If you've watched the FNO, they know how much I love my Assassin's Creed.
How
I've owned every Assassin's Creed game that's ever come out,
including like Vita games. I think they have some mobile games.
I had the mobile games. I did not have the Vita one. That was the one that I didn't have. But when they re-released it on, I think it was 360, I got it then.
Okay,
so
that was because I had that one on Vita. What was that one called? Oh man,
that was the one with the slaves in Haiti, and I'm totally drawing a blank.
Yeah, it was the one in I think it was in New Orleans, right?
Oh yeah, New Orleans. City. Yeah. But the thing is with that, as I have not finished Assassin's Creed. I didn't finish the last one, so I haven't bought Origins yet because I want to finish that before I get Origins because I know I'm going to get sucked right into it.
You didn't finish Syndicate?
Yeah, I haven't finished Syndicate yet.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't finish that one either. I have been playing a lot of Origins, and I don't want to get into it because I want to move on and get to Ian's thing. I will be talking about Assassin's Creed in the future, though, and hopefully, Chris, you'll be on so we can talk some Assassin's Creed in depth. I just wanted to mention that I got the Origins expansion pack today, which raises the level cap to from 40 to 45. So I was just basically spinning my wheels while Ian gets his drink right now to mention that. But I will get back to Assassin's Creed Origins in the future.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a choice here. All right. I got this. I tried to make a White Russian with almond milk, but
that sounds horrible.
Oh no, it's amazing. However, I am not entirely sure how old my Kahlua is. It could legitimately be a decade old, and I decided.
Okay.
So I have this Bud Light Tall Boy left over. Somebody brought to my house.
So yes. I wonder where that came from. Is that from the poker game?
I believe it's from a poker game.
Yeah, we played a poker game at Ian's place like a month ago, and it was like the first poker game we played over there. In how many years, Ian?
Don't know. Probably since I drank that Kahlua last.
Yeah. All right.
So I'll give you a choice. As far as what I've been playing, it's overwhelmingly been Elder Scrolls Online. So do you want to get into that, or do you want to talk Assassin's Creed? Because I can jam on Assassin's Creed too.
I would actually love to have you on in the future and talk about ESO with you, because me and my girlfriend started playing that, and we're going to be playing more of that. So
all right, let's do Assassin's Creed. Let's just talk Assassin's Creed then. Sell me on it. Why should I buy it? I haven't played Origins yet.
No, actually, well, you missed it, but when you were getting a drink, I was telling Chris like we should save Assassin's Creed for a little bit later too, because I just bought the expansion pass, but I haven't really played much of it, or I haven't played it at all. I just got it today and didn't have a chance because I was trying to catch up on some comics. But no, you've got a bunch of games on here, Ian. How about you talk? Can we just talk about really quick Age of Empires 3?
Wow, that's some retro. That's some retro gaming right there.
Yeah, because we got back into that this week.
Oh, yeah, it's a game I've always loved. I've always been a big real-time strategy fan. So
yeah, me too.
Same here. It's probably my favorite genre of game.
Now, really? Chris. Okay, now hold on, Chris. Hold on. Do you have a gaming PC?
Ian, do I have a gaming PC?
You don't want to compare dicks with this gaming PC.
Oh boy. Okay. So that's awesome, because at this point I pretty much only play RTS games on my PC. So we should possibly get into some RTS games in the future, Chris.
I'm totally down. All right,
then let's just.
That's always been my favorite game.
Awesome. Do you play Age of Empires?
Yep.
Do you play? Have you played 3?
Yeah, I own 3. That's running somewhere.
The complete edition with all the expansions.
Yeah. Do you have it on Steam or the original discs?
I have the original discs. That's how committed I was to that game.
Yeah. No, I have the original discs too, but we've been doing it on Steam.
Do you have the expansions, Chris? Okay.
No, I think I just had the original version because I bought it a while ago. Obviously, that game is not new. So,
well, you should definitely get it on Steam because it does include the expansions, which you do have to have the expansion to play with another player that has the expansions, and they actually do include a lot of just quality of life improvements that really make it worthwhile buying the expansions. Plus, you get the Steam
Okay.
chat. You know, if we're all on Steam together, so that'll
Plus,
make
at
it
this
easy.
point, it's like the game's been out for 10 years. Like,
Yeah,
right.
for real.
just get the
Yeah.
expansions. Like,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's been in the news lately a little bit too because they're making Age 4, I believe.
I have read nothing about Age 4.
I thought they were rebooting it.
I think maybe that's the only thing I heard is that they were just going back to the beginning, just doing the original Age of Empires style.
I definitely read that they're remastering Age of Empires 1. I also thought I heard that they're developing Age 4, but I could be wrong about that. And
Let's look it up.
I think your
that.
brother may have said that to me, Ian. So I don't know if I read that, but I thought your brother said that.
No,
So,
I do think it's a thing, and I actually think that it's not like I did hear the remastering of the first one, but I think that this one's going back to the old school. Okay, so I'm gonna turn
more of Age of Empires
official announced trailer. So more of an Age of Empires 1, which I'm actually super excited about.
So have you guys played Age 1?
Yes.
I played them all religiously.
Yeah,
even Age of Mythology.
Yeah, I'm Age of Empires from the beginning. I couldn't do Age of Mythology. That was just not wasn't really my style. But my brother Simon loved it.
I love the hell out of Age of Mythology too. But I actually started with 2, so I just went from there.
No, Age 1 is it made me fall in love with the game and genre.
Nice.
Yeah.
But then you look at Age 2 and Age 3 and like the progression. I actually got out of Age of Empires for a little while to play Cossacks, which I guess is real huge in Europe, but it's sort of that like Age of Empires 3, like colonial times with the cannons and that kind of thing. But there was just the population limit. You could get up to like a couple of thousand as opposed to just 200 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the cannons would just knock guys down in rows. It was pretty fun. So I did that for a while. And then Age 3 kind of brought me back into the Age of Empires.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Age 3. I think it's a really solid game. It's obviously newer, so you have the matchmaking and all of that. And so what happened this week was Ian's brother Alex, who does 1 Minute History on YouTube. Check that out. I guess he got a computer that can run Age 3, which isn't really saying a lot, but he I guess he got like a Mac that he put Parallels on, and so he put Windows on that, and he was able to install Age 3, and we jumped on there, and it was great. This was Sunday night. I had to work the next morning, and this is very telling how much I do love playing Age of Empires. We got the first game actually going when we all connected together and figured out the Steam chat at midnight on Sunday night. I had to be at work at 9. I started my first game at midnight and played till about 3 o'clock in the morning. So that was a fun day at work on Monday, but it was very telling that how much I do love Age, and we had a pretty fun time playing that. We just did what, 3-on-3, Ian?
Yeah, we just did a quick warm up game because it's the first time that we've played in years.
Yeah.
And then we stopped and I went to bed too. But Alex played another game after that.
Yeah, I guess he played against like some humans too. It's just
that was Alex's jam. Alex and my brother Simon played against humans. Like I know you like playing against the computer, but we never even did that.
Yeah, I would be down to play the computer or play other humans, but I also just like that just overwhelming odds against the CPU, like 3-on-5, 3-on-6.
You're almost setting up like your own RTS horde mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like playing it that way too, where I'm outnumbered by the computer.
Yeah, I want that. I want that Helm's Deep. I want that kind of scenario.
Well, it's so funny that you say Helm's Deep because Lord of the Rings had 2 RTS games, which I
don't get me started on that.
They were both developed by Ensemble, which is the same developer that did Age of Empires.
Were they?
That's what. Yeah.
Are you sure they were? I think you might be wrong on that.
The first one I was almost positive was.
You're talking about Battle for Middle Earth now, right?
No,
yeah,
Battle for Middle Earth. Yeah, I think you're mistaken on that. I think that was Warner Brothers Games that made that.
But who was making Warner Brothers games back then, though? Somebody else, probably.
Well, It's whatever team within Warner Brothers Games. Maybe Chris can look it up. But yeah, that's a whole nother podcast, Chris. I could talk about Battlefield Middle-earth for an entire show. I mean, I to this day play Battlefield Middle-earth 2.
Battlefield
the Lord
Middle-earth
of the Ring mode. So
didn't quite have the feel of Age of Empires.
no, it was different.
It would surprise me if it was the same developer, but
I was wrong. It was not Ensemble, but Ensemble did do Halo Wars, which I also love.
Yeah, that's right. They did do Halo Wars, and
that's
have you
one
guys
that's on Game Pass that I actually want to play.
Yeah. Did you guys play Halo Wars?
Because I think Ensemble they're a Microsoft owned. Like they just
are
do
Microsoft owned.
Yeah. I think they've always been Microsoft owned.
I have the soundtracks to the first 2 Age of Empires on my iPod. I just throw those on once in a while.
Oh, that's great.
I actually just realized that I think I do have all the expansions for Age of Empires 3 in disc format.
Oh, cool. All right, well, yeah, you might still want to get it on Steam just so you don't have to put in discs and you can do the whole Steam networking thing and stuff. But yeah, it's up to you.
So I'm looking at Age 4, and it from what this looks like, it spans the time of all 3 games.
Oh, wow. So it's actually happening. That's confirmed?
Yeah, I mean there's an announced trailer for it. And nice. It looks like it might be all 3 games in one, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
Because the first one, like it was just when you play 2 and then you play 3, it's like the first one was just a little clunky and not quite as involved, but man, it was just such a good game at the time.
Yeah.
And I would love to revisit those particular empires and play that game again in an updated format. That would be a lot of fun. Like Roman versus Carthage, and then the Assyrians and the Babylonians.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Did you guys ever play that game Rise of Nations?
Sure did. I have all of those too.
See, I was going to say Age 4 is kind of stealing from that because Rise of Nations went up through history as well. That was their whole thing.
But then Rise of Nations kind of stole their idea from Civilization. So everybody's borrowing from everybody.
Sure. Is Rise of Nations on Steam?
But Rise of Nations,
I think it is.
Didn't that have more of an RTS play style? Like Civilization. Yeah. Civilization is like that
turn-based. Yeah. Turn-based strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. Rise of Nations felt like Age of Empires 2 to me, I believe.
So how do you guys feel? Have either of you guys played Total War?
Yes, that as well. Okay. I like Total War because of the army builds you can make in the game.
Chris, which one do you have? Because there's about I think there's 576 Total War games at this point.
Oh, no, really? What?
No,
there's a lot of
There's a lot.
The one that I have is the Shoguns. I have Shogun Total War.
I think Total War Rome is one I was interested in, but I didn't hear great things about it. Yeah,
I played Medieval 2, I believe. And that was pretty fun. I like the planning stage of it, but the real-time battles never really did it for me.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. The one that I own is Warhammer, Total War Warhammer.
And the real-time battles still aren't very good?
And the real-time battles, I'm not, I haven't really figured them out yet. I feel like I'm honestly better off just simulating the battle where I stack the odds in my favor. Because even if I have a better army, I could still lose the real time battles because I haven't really I haven't gotten good at it, I guess. So yeah. I can still play it for hundreds of hours because that extra layer of turn based strategy is a lot of fun for me too. So I got more into that than I did the actual real-time battles.
Yeah, that was the same for me. Now we need to move on to our next topic, but did you guys ever do Warhammer 40K Dawn of War?
Yep, I have all of those too.
Love it. How's 3?
It's kind of a throwback to 1, which I
to 1. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick that up soon because I loved 1. I thought 2 was pretty good, but I love the gameplay from 1. Ian, did you ever play those?
No, I never got into 40K as much as I wanted to. Okay. And honestly, like Warhammer games are always tough to know what's good and what's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Well, I can definitely recommend the Dawn of War games. I think you should check those out at some point.
Okay.
Dawn of War is great.
Yeah, I mean, even the first one. If you got the first one, I think you'd have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, because Warhammer licensed games out to everyone. There's a million of them, and a lot of them are really bad. So it's hard. And I've always been the only ones that I've dabbled in have been the fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy.
Gotcha. Well, if you get Dawn of War, get Dawn of War Dark Crusade. If you like the planning, kind of the world map overlay of like strategizing where your troop movement's going to go, you'll love Dark Crusade.
Okay.
Yeah. So check that out. And Chris, in 3, there's none of that, right?
Yeah, I only dabbled in it. I haven't had a chance to really enjoy it yet.
Okay.
As far as I remember, no.
Yeah, I love that. It's just kind of infinite gameplay because you're just moving your troops around and deciding like where you're going to attack and taking over areas of this like the map overlay. And that wasn't in the original Dawn. That was in the expansion.
Conquest mode. Yeah, I like any games that have kind of like conquest modes. Like even Star Wars Edge of the Empire at War was like that, where you have a conquest mode where you could conquest the entire galaxy.
Yep, that's my favorite. I love that.
Man, that's something new. Did not know that Chris was a real-time strategy guy.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. That's great. Dude. That's actually awesome because me and Ian play RTS games. So let's play some games, boys.
Yeah, I prefer RTSs over every single style of game. For me, it's RTS, then RPG, and then other stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm in that RTS and then the tactics RPG.
Yeah, tactics RPG. That's how we got so hip on XCOM when I was telling you.
Yeah, I didn't know about XCOM, but yeah, that's
because that reminds me of a real-time strategy game, but with tactics. It's squad based. So
one of my favorite games,
like, Company of Heroes.
Oh yeah, Company of Heroes is great. As someone that grew up on Warcraft 1 and 2, I'm also a huge fan of RTSs. So, all right, well, I'm gonna let you guys circle jerk RTS games off the show later after the show. But I just wanted to move on to our last segment of the show. It is, of course, our comics section. So let's jump into that. Me and Chris actually read the same thing, or the same book series for this week. We're kind of on different points of it. It is Batman by Tom King. And I think Chris has not read as much as I have, so I might just talk about the stuff that Chris has read, which I believe is the first 2 arcs. Is that correct, Chris?
Well, yeah, because I've gone through Monster Man. I've gone through I Am Suicide and I Am Gotham.
And you did I Am Gotham, which was the first arc, yeah.
Yeah. I'm basically getting ready to start into I Am Bane because, I am something in this arc. You have to be something.
Well, it'd be great. We could just talk about the first couple arcs since you've read that. I finished I Am Bane this week, and I was starting to get into, and I read the Button crossover, and I was starting to get into the War of Jokes and Riddles. So you know what? We could probably catch up just currently to where it's at now and just talk about that later at some point. But let's just talk about the first couple arcs right now.
And I apologize. I like to do my homework for this, but I did not read any Batman.
It's all good, man.
I did read some Super Sons for you for the last one.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh, love me.
I'm still reeling from finding out that Batman has a son. I didn't even know about that shit.
Damian Wayne, baby.
Still can't. Yeah, man.
It's just it doesn't make sense to me. Batman just seemed like the type that was never going to have a kid.
See,
well, that was he never planned on having Damian.
Yeah, like what's going on? Like is Talia poking holes in his condoms? Like how'd that happen?
Basically, that's exactly how that happened.
because I would have expected that Batman had a vasectomy years ago.
Nah,
well, apparently
if my memory serves me correctly, and I could be wrong, so internet will probably correct me. But initially, when he turned down being a part of the League of Shadows, they had already taken his semen so that they could clone him, and they used Talia as a vessel.
Really?
So I could be wrong, but I remember reading or hearing about that somewhere, and I might be wrong. But there was one story arc for Damian that he was basically artificially inseminated, which is why he was batshit crazy.
Uh-huh.
And then the other version is that Talia and Bruce had a relationship.
Yeah.
And she hid her pregnancy from him, so he never knew. And so then he grows up with the League of Shadows because they're like, well, Bruce let us down and he left the League of Shadows, so this is our way of actually creating the Bruce that we wanted.
This is the next best thing to Bruce is son. And I always thought the version of Damien being created was that Bruce just banged out Talia and that was it.
Yeah, he does. Her and Selena Kyle.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll talk about Selena later because, maybe on another episode because I've definitely been reading in Tom King's current run. There's definitely been a lot of Selena Kyle, and there was a very big development in the life of Catwoman and Batman. I will not say what that is, Chris. You need to keep reading, buddy.
Batman juggling right now.
Oh, you know what that was?
Well,
it probably got spoiled, right?
The big deal was them getting engaged, right? Is that what you're referring to?
Spoilers.
Well,
not that Ian's gonna read this, but
this is even worse, okay? Because Batman does not seem like the marrying type either.
Well, that was where the controversy was that it was like, when did Batman decide he was going to get married? He's not Peter Parker.
The Batman I know does not want to get married. He's not want to have kids.
Well, he wants zero attachments.
to be well, I know that's funny because he has like 50 Robins. But anyways, Ian, I think you would actually be pretty.
Yeah, I just assumed that Batman was just going to be an old gay man that always had a young Robin around.
Ian, I think in this case it would actually serve you to read Tom King's run, and I think by the end of his run we're going to get a pretty good idea of how Bruce went on that journey to ask her that. I mean, I feel like we're just like in the first part of this story, and there's a long way to go. So I'm not judging yet.
There's clearly a bunch that I have to catch up on with my Batman because I feel like I don't even know him anymore.
This is a much more humanized Batman. I will say that he's not as curmudgeon as he used to be, and he definitely believes more in Batman Inc. and the Bat Family, which I like. I like that he's developed the Bat Family so much. And it's not constantly him just saying, I'm doing this alone. It's we got to do it together, but nobody dies. Not on my watch. Yeah. And I really dig that. I really, really, really dig that about it.
Well, and you were mentioning showing his humanity, and I think we've seen that a lot in Tom King's run. Do you want to talk a little bit about like in the first arc even? Like, I mean, we see Bruce basically pondering his imminent demise, and he goes through like there's basically a whole issue of him just basically coming to terms with the fact that he's about to die, and he's kind of like
ready to die.
He's ready to die. He's sending himself off in his mind. He even calls Alfred and he's like, hey, is this a good death for me? And
does this make sense? Is this worthy of a sacrifice?
Yeah.
And the thing that's interesting is that for that arc, it's really kind of, because this is the beginning of Rebirth and we're getting a new version of Batman and we're getting an understanding of where he is and his point of realizing that he is a man amongst gods. I mean, when you really look at him inside of the Justice League, he is the only dude surrounded by gods. So his mortality always plays a factor in it, but we never really talk about that. Like, it's something that is really starting to get a focal point in this arc. It's like he's realizing I can't do the stuff that like Superman can do or Flash can do or Green Lantern, even Hal. Like, granted, he's a human, but with his ring he can do just about anything. So it's like he knows that.
Yeah, and Chris, I've definitely seen just throughout the run, more so than I think I may ever have in reading Batman. And haven't read every issue of Batman, but I think in this run more so than any other time, I've just seen like how physically Batman has been beaten down. I mean, there is moments where he just basically just gets the shit kicked out of him, and he's like really hurting, and it takes him time to recover. And it just feels like because in previous runs, especially in like maybe Mark Waid or Grant Morrison's run, you almost feel like I mean, he is technically human, but it almost feels like he is kind of a god.
He's invincible. Yeah,
Yeah.
they made him invincible.
Because he's so perfect, and so like his mind makes him just so like amazing and so godlike. In fact, I think they had a term for Morrison where they just called him like the Bat God or something.
Yeah,
in Morrison's run. So I mean, but in this run, I mean, God, there's been so many times where like I've just been like, wow, Bruce is really showing like a side of himself that I don't think I've really seen before. I mean, there was the whole like wrestling with his mortality in the first arc. Then there was also the where he was like basically talking about how he's contemplating or he views his life as basically committing suicide.
Can you guys hear that really aggressive dog outside?
Is that in your is that on your camera?
Yeah, that's me. So
Okay.
Some dog that's not happy right outside the apartment. Here.
Sit Gagne on him. Gagne is Ian's.
No, Gagne doesn't help me out. See, Gagne is what's known as an emotional discouragement animal.
For those of you that don't know, Gagne is Ian's cat. He's a grossly overweight gangster of a cat.
Yeah, he's the opposite of an emotional support animal. He's an actual discouragement animal.
He's the Jabba the Hutt of cats.
He just judges me and just makes me feel like shit all the time.
So he's like the opposite of Chewie.
He's the opposite of Chewie for sure.
So anyways, getting back to Batman, Chris, what do you think about that? Do you agree that we've seen a more human side of Bruce and we've seen like some psychological things going on with him that we really haven't delved into before?
Well, yeah, I think so. I feel like the last time I really feel like you got a sense of who Bruce was beyond the mask was, a death in the family when he loses Tim Drake.
Jason
Todd, I'm sorry. He does lose
Tim Drake. I was just say, whoa, Tim Drake? Oh, hey, you can't drop that on me.
Don't be killing Tim Drake. Oh, wait, they just did.
Yeah, that's a different arc. My bad.
Don't worry.
I'm never reading another comic book.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Lost Damien at one point too. Like they killed Damien too. So it's a tradition to kill the Robins.
That in? I
can't remember, but it was right before Rebirth.
Okay, it was recent. Was that the I Am Robin or We Are Robin or whatever, or was that a different story?
I think it was before that. Okay.
I missed that.
But yeah, they like killing Robins. That's the thing.
Yeah, you can't take Tim Drake from me because, I mean, Damien's just a poor man's Tim Drake anyway.
No, Damien's actually he's very much his own character. I love me some Tim Drake. He's my favorite Robin, but Damien is his own character. He's a cool character.
Yeah. He's a certified badass too, and he's got a mouth on him, and I awesome. Love it.
Yeah,
he's such a smart ass.
Really awesome.
But I feel like he is humanized a lot more, and I dig that because it makes him a little bit more relatable. It's not always about his money. It's not about anything more than him recognizing his place in the world, which is he knows he can't do it by himself.
Right.
He's finally realized these things. He knows that he's mortal, so he has to be more conscientious about that. He knows that training his Bat family is going to be more of a benefit to him than it would be a detriment. It's like a lot of these things, because the Bat family is so much stronger. Like when you read the Detective Comics, you're like, they're great. They're a solid team. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Clayface and Orphan and all those guys. So it's like, and spoiler, they're doing a good job. Batwoman, and I totally dig where he's going now. Like I feel good about that, but. With I Am Suicide, it's basically him realizing that, he was going to kill himself so that he could be with his parents. And as a 10-year-old, realizing that, maybe this isn't the best idea, but at the same time, he could be that sacrifice. Like if he had to be that sacrifice, because that's when he decided to make his commitment to be in the war on crime.
Right. He's basically sacrificing his life to just devote it to the war on crime. And I thought that was an interesting take. I mean, I've never really looked at it from that angle. And I think that kind of like rubs some people the wrong way, but I thought it was an interesting take on it. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have...
It's not that at all. Like you get it, and that's the thing. Like when it comes to superhero ideology, and a lot of people probably don't look at it from the psychological aspect, which is probably why Batman is my favorite character, because between him and his rogues gallery, they're all crazy. Every single last one of them. Batman is crazy too.
Yeah.
People don't want to admit that, but like he is insane. He is insane for what it is that he does. But the thing is that some people don't realize that Batman's secret identity is not really Bruce Wayne. It's the other way around. He is Batman. Bruce Wayne is his mask. That's his mask. He pretends to be Bruce Wayne. He's not really Bruce Wayne. He's really Batman.
Right.
Bruce Wayne died, and that's why I think I really like that I Am Suicide arc, is that Bruce Wayne died in Crime Alley. He's dead. He's gone, and he died when when he was putting the razor blade in his hand in that arc, and he's like, that's when Bruce died. Bruce literally committed suicide right then, and Batman was born.
Yeah, when he was 10 years old, he basically killed Bruce Wayne and became something else.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was great. And that kind of does lead into the next, or actually the I Am Suicide arc that also goes into. So just to recap real quick for Ian. So there's basically like two kind of big arcs that we're talking about. The first one being this arc called I Am Gotham, which introduces us to a couple characters named Gotham and Gotham Girl. And
which I think are terrible names.
Well, I think it was kind of intentional. They're kind of like your generic boilerplate superheroes.
No, I can confirm those are terrible names.
But anyways, so they come into the picture. They basically save Bruce from death. He's ready to die, but they appear and save him, which makes him kind of reconsider. Like, he kind of allows himself to think of them as like allies. And long story short, something happens where one of them kind of goes a little crazy. One of them dies. One of them goes a little crazy. Sorry if you haven't read Batman, but we're talking Batman, so these are Batman spoilers. So one of them, Gotham dies. Gotham Girl kind of goes a little insane. And there's one basically person in the DC universe that can kind of cure her mental illness, I guess. And that's
the same person that gave it to them in the first place. So
oh yeah, that's right. It's been a while since I read it. So the Psycho Pirate, he's the one who makes her go crazy, right?
Yeah, Psycho Pirate can manipulate your emotions.
The Psycho
in doing
Pirate?
so,
yeah.
Psycho
Pirate.
I
changed my mind. Gotham and Gotham Girl are not that bad of names.
All right. So yeah,
Psycho Pirate for sure takes the cake.
So Chris, explain the Psycho Pirate real quick. He can manipulate people's emotions.
Yeah, so you can manipulate your emotions. Yeah, so you can feel anger or sadness or fear, and he instills fear in Gotham Girl and anger in Gotham, and which I guess it's kind of metaphorical, a little meta, in the sense. So Gotham goes off the rails, trying to save Gotham, but at the same time only making it worse. Batman recognizes this and he tries to do his part to try to stop him, but it really takes Gotham Girl to do it because they are on even keel as far as their powers are concerned.
Right.
Which I actually like that one way that they explain their powers is that the stronger they decide to become, the less life they have. They have to sacrifice their life to become stronger, which I thought was actually kind of cool. So
wait, so you're telling me that their superpower is just steroids?
Well, no, that would be more like Venom and Bane. Their power, which
right, but you're sacrificing a few years off the end of your life for some just pure power. That's steroids. That's
what was that comic? What was that comic from back in the day? Was it was Strike Force Moratorium? Was that the one where they basically people were given powers, but they only could have them for like a year or something? And if they chose to have the powers, like they could have them for just a certain amount of time, and then they died. I just remember that. I think that was called Strike Force Moratorium. But that was yeah, that was kind of similar to Gotham and Gotham Girl, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's basically what it was. Was that she was like, we could basically be moderate superheroes for a decade, or we could live like gods for a year.
Right.
So
now
I was like, oh shit.
So Psycho Butt Pirate is messing with their emotions.
Yeah, so he's doing all of this, and in doing so, and it's not just them. They're manipulating other people, and of course Amanda Waller comes on the scene, and you always know that when Amanda Waller shows up, bad things are going down.
Oh yeah. So Chris, do you remember?
I actually thought it was a very interesting arc, for sure.
Yeah. Now, Chris, remind me, because I can't remember exactly the machinations of this, but how did the Psycho Pirate get to Santa Prisca where Bane rules?
Hugo Strange brought him there. That was their deal.
Oh, okay, because Bane... Okay, so Ian, in the second arc, what happens is Bane basically gets the Psycho Pirate because he's trying to wean himself off Venom. You're familiar with Bane, right?
I'm familiar with Bane, but I didn't realize he was in the same universe as Venom.
No. He's Venom trying to wean himself off Venom. That's the drug he takes to give him the strength.
And make him all huge and shit.
Yeah, it's called Venom.
Okay, so he's trying to get off steroids.
Yeah. So he's trying to get off Venom, and that's making him just kind of... That's putting him through this like really painful withdrawals. So the only way he can like subdue that pain is to have the Psycho Pirate, manipulate his emotions so he doesn't feel the pain.
So, okay, Psycho Butt Pirate is fingering his butthole. Got it.
And so in the second arc, I Am Suicide, or it's the third. I don't know. It's like the second big arc, the I Am Suicide arc.
Night of the Monster Men is that's like the second major arc.
Yeah, that doesn't really count because that's like a crossover. I didn't get really into that, but I Am Suicide. So what happens in that one is Gotham Girl is in a bad way, and Bruce realizes that he needs to get the Psycho Pirate back to heal her. Basically, the only problem is he's in Santa Prisca, where Bane, rules with an iron fist. So he has to put together a team to break the Psycho Pirate out.
His Suicide Squad.
Yeah, his Suicide Squad.
Is Psycho Pirate... speaking of, is Harley Quinn is just like the Ava Braun of the comic book world, right? Like, she's the worst.
What?
Yeah.
Like, this is what... Okay, here's why I hate...
Chris, this is why Ian's not on for his comic.
This is why I hate Harley Quinn. Okay.
Why do you hate Harley Quinn, Ian?
Because Joker's getting laid more than me. That just doesn't. That's not okay. Like, this is why women are what's wrong with everything. Like, a Joker would probably be a lot more sane if he wasn't getting laid and had to be a normal person.
Wow, I don't think that's true at all. But go ahead.
You can't let him get away with that and then still reward him.
Okay, so what were you going to ask about Psycho Pirate? Or I don't know how you got on Harley Quinn, but what were you going to say?
Because you guys said Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah. So...
Well, that's because
Psycho Pirate is a prisoner.
Bruce went to Amanda Waller and told him that he wanted to put together a team for this mission. So she basically gave him Task Force X personnel. Harley was not one of them, but because that's her A squad.
Yeah.
So she gave him the B team.
This is like the C or D team. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's probably more. Yeah, it's more like the C or D team.
Okay, who's on it again? Like I said, it's been a little while since I read this. So it has Bronze Tiger, right?
Yeah, it was Bronze Tiger, Punchy, Ventriloquist.
Yeah. Oh,
so this is the Suicide Squad that actually goes in and dies.
And Catwoman.
Yeah, Catwoman.
Yeah.
And Jubilee's Punchy's girlfriend.
Wait, hold on a second. There's a Jubilee in the Marvel universe and DC universe now too.
No, her name is like forget it. It's like
Jubilee. It's bad enough that they both have a Venom.
No, they don't have a Venom. Venom is a drug in the DC universe. Fucking guy.
All right, so Catwoman's on the D team. How'd she get relegated? She's like, I gotta do so.
That was a specific
Batman.
favor that Bruce wanted. Yeah,
She's like, I
Bruce
gotta pull
wanted
myself
her
off the A team. I'm getting married.
Don't forget, Batman's on this team. Okay, it's more like he's putting together, a group of the outsiders to go do a specific mission.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd call them like the Suicide Squad, but
he's trying to clear her name because she is on death row right now. So his whole game was to try to clear her name, and if you do these task force X
who's on
missions,
death row?
you get
Catwoman. That's a whole
Selena.
other thing. Yeah, she was accused of basically destroying an orphanage with like over 200 people or something in it. Isn't that what happened?
All right, so basically she's on death row but still getting married. That's awesome.
She went to avenge the people that died in that orphanage by killing the terrorist organization that committed it.
But she killed
237 members.
237 people. Yeah. So let's not get into that. That's distracting from the main plot of I Am Suicide. But so he puts together a team to go on this mission. They go to Santa Prisca. It's pretty cool. Like there's several issues of them.
So is Psycho Pirate a prisoner, or are they kidnapping him?
They're basically taking him back. I mean, he's a criminal, so like they're basically taking him back for. He's going to be in Arkham eventually, but like Bruce needs him to cure Gotham Girl.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hugo Strange was using.
So they're kidnapping him. He's happy over hanging out with Bane.
I guess. Yeah.
He was content with Bane. He was fine with Bane.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, they are basically kidnapping him.
But don't forget, he's the one who fucked with Gotham Girl. So this is his comeuppance, to make it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotham Girl sounded a little crazy from the beginning, but okay, we'll go with that.
All right. Well, it's a cool arc. There's obviously a big showdown between Batman and Bane, and I really wish you read the next arc because I'd love to get into that, but we can save that for another episode, Chris.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll get there. And we've also gotten about 2 hours, so it might be a good time to just well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Before we sign off, Ian did have a comic I think he wanted to talk about, right?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I was just gonna say, like, okay, we kind of recapped the arc, but like, talk to me about it. Like, tell me why I should read it because you just told me the plot. Like, what am I looking for? Like, why is it?
Well, I mean, I think we talked a little bit about how this arc in particular has shown kind of a more human side of Bruce, and it is interesting. I mean, to me, it's very interesting to see like a different side of the man. Than we've seen, previously, and I don't know. It
feels very Christopher Nolan-y. Like it's grounded. It's a little bit more down to earth. It's more realistic, and I think that if you are used to a more fantastical version of Batman, this feels a little bit more authentic to what the character would be like if he truly existed. And I think that's enough to kind of suck you into a story that, because I'll be perfectly honest, like it was definitely a page turner. Like I was like, all right, well, what's next? And it flows very well. And I mean, I sometimes wait to read story arcs because I like to read them back to back. I'm a little impatient waiting month to month or week to week. Mm-hmm. So I will sometimes stack them up like 6 or 20 issues and then read that like that. And it's very engrossing. I don't think I've had a story since like Night of the Owls that was that engrossing. Like, I mean, because Bruce was totally pushed to his limits for that. And it's just
I've been out of Batman since The Long Halloween, so
and that's a while. But I actually think, Ian, this would be a good jumping on point for you. Tom King's a really good writer. They have great artists on this book. David Finch. Mikel Janin, really, really solid art. I mean, do you agree with that, Chris?
I would agree with that. I mean, I miss Jim Lee. I think Jim Lee drew Batman the exact way I wanted him to.
Well, David Finch is a pretty close.
But yeah, I was gonna say, but David Finch is definitely on his heels, so it's quality art. I mean,
Mikel Janin.
Yeah,
Mikel Janin is amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. Like basically writing and art wise, it's a great book. I think you could just pick it up and basically read, just Batman, and you'd be fine. So, yeah, I'd recommend it.
I have it all, Ian. So whenever you come over, you can just go into my library. You've seen all those books.
Okay,
nice. All right.
Yeah, the only comic I've actually read is that and I watched somebody just read it to me on YouTube, which kind of not a bad way to read comics, to be honest. But it was that Destiny comic that came with the Curse of Osiris expansion.
Oh, tell us about that.
It's a shit show. They just have no idea how to pace a story. Other than like the Taken King, their story pacing is just all over the place. So there's just no concept of time. Like I don't know if it spanned a week or years, or I can't tell. And the art's great, like it looks good, but the story's just kind of generic.
Yeah.
It didn't really add to the world in any meaningful way to me.
Okay, so having played Curse of Osiris, this really did nothing to add to that experience.
I guess it gave you a little bit of background, but it's not in a real compelling way. Like you could skip it. It's not.
All right. All right. Well, I guess I will skip that. I will safely skip that. I got plenty of other comics to read.
Yeah, like I said, the art was good. I liked the artist. I don't know who it was, but.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're bringing the information tonight, Ian. Thank you for that. I'm kidding. All right. Cool. Well, we've gone about 2 hours, so we'll probably try to cut that down a little bit as we go on. But I want to just thank everyone that's been with us this long into episode 1 of Pixels and Panels. This is going to be a weekly show. I'm really excited to have some different people on. I'm really excited to have these guys back on. I hope they are willing to come back on. We will see. Yeah, thank you for being here, guys. If you want to find Chris on the interwebs, he has the First Nerd Order on YouTube. Is that in a podcast format too, Chris?
It's a video podcast or a vodcast.
Okay, so it's just on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's just on YouTube though.
Okay,
but, hey, you can still put it on your phone.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can download those videos and play them offline now.
Yep,
that's
pretty
great.
much.
Cool. Well, awesome. So find him on YouTube at the First Nerd Order. Great show that has over 200 episodes, right?
No, stop selling us so high.
I swear, there's 200 episodes of that show. Also, thank you, Ian, for being on. Ian, do you still do I Call Bullshit?
No, I will occasionally do a Diaries of a White Belt. So if you want,
okay, I was going to get to that, but I know you have a podcast called I Call Bullshit. Is that not happening anymore?
Maybe one day. We haven't really released anything. So
okay, you were just doing some test stuff for that. I thought that was out. I apologize. Yeah, Ian also does several other podcasts, including or actually, really, you're just on Diaries of a White Belt, right?
Yeah, right now.
Okay. I mean, you've appeared on various podcasts, but yeah, Diaries of a White Belt, great show.
I'll talk to anybody about anything, pretty much.
Yeah,
if you want me on your podcast, just.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're on this show.
No, I'm just saying, anybody listening, if they want me on their podcast, I'll probably do it.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. What was that?
I'll still do it. I just. Might regret it. Never mind. Inside joke.
All right. Well, they're gonna do their circle jerk after this. So we're gonna sign off now. But thank you for all being here. Check us out every week at pixelsandpanelspodcast.com. We're on iTunes. We're also on YouTube, so you can see our pretty faces. And we will see you next time. For Aaron, Chris, and Ian, we are signing off. Later. Got anything, Ian? No.
Best sign off ever.
All right. Well,
you guys want to play Fortnite?